Hey guys, James Wise from Holton-Wise here. Today I want to talk to you about investment strategy. There's a lot of different reasons people buy rental property. The main one that everyone talks about is cash flow. And cash flow is incredibly important, do not get me wrong. So we are going to talk about cash flow. But there is more to this business than just cash flow. So today we are going to go over my 5 best reasons to buy a rental property. I want to start this discussion with other people's money. That is the ability to leverage the money of others to build your investment portfolio. I think other people's money is actually the most important reason you should invest in real estate. This is more important to me than cash flow. This is why you go real estate. You cannot use other people's money to buy stocks or mutual funds, but you can use other people's money to buy investment real estate. Now, there's a lot of content out there on the internet or books or this or that about people telling you that you can buy real estate with no money down. Buy real estate, no money, no credit, no problem. You can get real estate. Anybody that's telling you you can go out there and you can buy real estate with absolutely no money or no credit, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you a book or an education seminar, something like that. If you see somebody telling you you can invest in real estate, even if you have, you don't have 2 nickels to rub together, look, they're wrong. That's not going to happen. Their business is just selling you something, selling you some type of idea. That's how they earn their revenue. Think about it logically. If there was a way that you can invest in real estate without any money down, you don't have to have any money or any credit or any income, why would someone else tell you about that? Why would they give you that information? Why wouldn't they, if there's so much money to be made and it's an unlimited amount, since you don't need to have any money for down payments, why would they tell you that? Why wouldn't they just buy every piece of real estate in the entire world? The answer is they wouldn't. Their business model is actually making money selling you that product. So we started this off with me saying, though, James, you said other people's money, getting loans from other people is the most important thing. And that's right, it is. But you're not going to get them to loan you 100%. This is how this process works, okay? Every single person has the ability to obtain 10 residential mortgages in their own name, okay? A residential mortgage is the best loan that you can possibly get. It's going to be 30 years. The interest rates are very, very low, and it is tax deductible. Now, what you can do when you're buying a non-owner occupied property, that means it's a property that you're not going to live in. You can get a loan. Your down payment is typically going to be 25%. Now, there are some lenders who will actually let you do a down payment of 15% for your first 4 rental properties, so long as it's a single family home. But the vast majority of the loans are going to require a 25% down payment. And it's important to note with that 25% down payment that is not only going to be for a single family home. You can do a single family home, a duplex, a triplex, or a quad. So anything with 1 to 4 units, okay, is going to qualify for this residential loan. So let's look at the numbers, okay? Here in the Cleveland market, these numbers are very very similar to this. They're not going to be exactly like this, but this is going to help me illustrate my point. So what you can do is you can purchase a home. Let's say the home is $100,000. Now, all you're going to be required to buy this $100,000 house is to put down your 25% or $25,000. Okay, so you're going to purchase a home for $100,000, but out of your pocket, all you've put down is $25,000. Where does the other $75,000 come from? That's going to come from the bank. You're using other people's money. I want you to think of your investment as a pie. You have 4 pieces to this pie. Only 1 piece of that pie is paid for by you. The other 3 pieces of that pie were lent to you by the bank. Now, how do you pay off the bank? Well, that's why real estate is so great. You're taking someone else's money to buy 3/4 of your property, and then you're using another person's money, your tenants, to pay off the other 3/4 that you didn't pay for. So, at the end of 30 years, you have now spent $25,000, but now you own an asset free and clear that is worth $100,000. 3/4 of that property was purchased using money from other folks. You borrowed money from one person, and then another person gave you money to pay back that loan. That's amazing. Now, this is going to lead me to my next thing, and that is real estate appreciates. There is appreciation. We've already established that you bought one property for $100,000, but out of your own pocket, you only spent $25,000. So over the course of 30 years, now you own that asset free and clear. The bank's already gone. You've already paid the bank off. You now have an asset worth $100,000. Okay, that means you made $75,000. Real estate historically appreciates at about 3%. So over the course of that 30-year period, your property probably 30 years later is not still worth $100,000. It's probably actually going to be worth $190,000 now. So now you have $190,000. But remember, you only spent $25,000. So that means you made $165,000. And we're not even talking about any cash flow that you may have made during that time period. We're going to get to cash flow later. Let's just talk about the appreciation and the use of other people's money. So now you have made $165,000 more than what you originally put in. But this is the best part. You can do 10 mortgages. So let's just go ahead and assume that you did the exact same thing. You bought a house for $100,000, you only put down 25%, and then you rented it out for 30 years. Let's assume you did that 10 times, because remember I said you can get 10 of these residential mortgages, which, again, to recap, these are the best types of loans you can get. There's things called good debt, and then there's bad debt. Mortgages are the best possible debt. Why? It's long. 30 years. Nobody's loaning you things for 30 years. You can't buy a car on a 30-year loan. 2, the interest rates are very, very low. When people are offering to give you money at a 4, 5, even 6% interest rate, that's insane. Your credit cards have an APR of 15, 16, 17, 20, 25. I've even seen 29% APRs. You can get a mortgage for 5%. That is 1/6 of some of these credit cards. So this is the best debt. So let's assume you're going to maximize this, okay? That house, $100,000. Let's assume you did it 10 times over. So now instead of $100,000, you have $1 million worth of real estate. Instead of $25,000, you did it 10 times. So you've spent $250,000, okay? So now, over 30 years, as we've already established, real estate historically has appreciated at a rate of 3%. So that means 30 years later, your portfolio is now valued at $1.9 million. But you only spent $250,000. So that is a total profit to you of $1.65 million. That's not bad. And that doesn't even account for any cash flow, which we're going to talk about now. You've heard it. Everybody's pitching it. Cash flow this, cash flow that. Cash flow is important, so let's talk about cash flow. Cash flow is the additional amount of revenue you're going to earn every single month off of your rental property. You can take a rental property and you could rent it to somebody for more than the cost is to actually operate the property. You know, typically here in the Cleveland market, you know, a lot of our suburban homes, you know, let's just use the same houses we've been buying, our 10 houses that we bought for $100,000, but we've only put $25,000 into each of them. That house at $100,000, you're going to have a mortgage of $75,000. Your monthly cost on this property is going to be about $750. That's going to include your mortgage, it's going to include your taxes, it's going to include your insurance. Now, typically here in the Cleveland market, a property that you spent $100,000 on is going to rent for probably $1,100. So remember, your mortgage is only $750, and that's going to include taxes and insurance. So you're going to have a leftover cash flow of $350 a month. You multiply that out by the entire year, that's going to be $4,200. Now, there are, of course, going to be additional costs outside of what we've just established. You know, there's an unlimited amount of variables at play at all times when you own rental property. Tenants tend to do things that cause damage or they will move out. But that's going to be for another video. That's a completely separate discussion. Let's just keep things very simplistic here and just talk strategy. So, right now, $4,200 a year in cash flow out of this one property. And we've already discussed appreciation, and we've already discussed using other people's money to build a bigger portfolio. So, let's just say that we bought 10 properties because why? We want to use other people's money to maximize. So, Instead of $4,200 a year in cash flow, you're now making $42,000 a year in cash flow. You multiply that out over a 30-year hold, you're going to end up with $1.26 million in cash flow. Now, we've also already established that because of the ability to use other people's money and historical real estate appreciation, that 30-year hold, just in your use of other people's money and your appreciation, you already made $1,650,000. Now we add in our $1,260,000 of cash flow. We have generated a total of $2,910,000. The best part about that $2,910,000 is we did the entire thing only spending $250,000. We turned $250,000 into $2,910,000. Tax benefits. If you're anything like me, you're paying the government too much money in taxes. I myself, like I imagine many of you watching this are, in the top tax bracket. That means I am paying 39.6% of my income back in taxes. Every dollar I bring in, I have to give back 39.6 cents. What you can do with real estate is reduce your tax burden, okay? So if you have a rental property that perhaps something happened, maybe your tenant trashed it or they got evicted, and you had to spend $10,000, that $10,000 can be written off as an expense. So if you made $400,000 that year, but you had a $10,000 loss, now your tax burden is only $390,000. Now you multiply that over many, many properties, you're really going to lower that tax burden. You take a lot of investors, they're not even looking for cash flow. What they're looking to do is shelter their income. And these are going to be high income individuals who just need to shelter it because for every dollar they bring in, they got to give almost 40% of it right back. And real estate is going to help them to keep more of what they have earned. This particular reason to buy rental property is something that we often don't think about. You know, we always talk about OPM, other people's money. We are constantly talking about tax benefits and cash flow. But something that is, often missed is the fact that real estate is real. It's physical. You can go out and you can touch it. You can't physically walk up to a stock or a mutual fund and put your hand on it. You can't open the door to a stock or a mutual fund. With real estate, it's real. You can touch it. You can see it. Even if you're out of state. I know many of you watching this are probably out on the West Coast. Holton-Wise, we're out here in Cleveland, and a large amount of our investors are from the West Coast, and we got a lot of folks over in Europe. You're not actively seeing these properties every day, but at any point in time, you could hop on a plane and you could go ahead and fly out and actually see these. You could drive the neighborhood, see these buildings. You could see that they're there. You could physically see your investment making you money. With stocks, mutual funds, other traditional, your financial advisor or financial planner, whatever you want to call them, that's an entry-level employee in that company. All that it takes to become a certified financial planner is 1 week of school. A lot of these companies are bringing in young kids directly out of college. So you could be taking investment advice from somebody who just got out of college. He may actually still live with his parents. We're investing in things that are totally out of our control. The dot-com boom and bust. These investments. You, as an investor, have absolutely no say in that dot-com bubble. There's nothing that you can actually do to change the trajectory of that investment. Whereas with real estate, you can change the trajectory of your investment. You can look at your property and you can be like, oh, hey, my property's looking a little dilapidated. Perhaps I should renovate the kitchen. Perhaps I should change the windows. Perhaps I should install a new roof. As far as a dot-com bubble, what can you do? Currently, right now, if we look at where we are at today, the latest election, the stock market has a huge bubble in it post-Trump winning the election. A lot of people think that there's going to be a major Trump correction coming. That has nothing to do with you. You have no say in that. Real estate, you can be active. You can have a say. You can dictate where your investment goes. All right, guys, there you have it. Those were my 5 top reasons to invest in real estate. Now, I really want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you're spreading the word. Make sure you're sharing this. I would love for you to go ahead and tag 3 people who would want to hear this information. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. If you want to hear from more of me personally, go ahead and follow me on my Instagram page at James Wise HWPG. Send us an email, info@holtonwise.com. We can get more information to you. Holton-Wise specializes in helping people just like you build long-term wealth through real estate investing.